Hi.
Hi. I'm so sorry.
Let us blame this. No, we blame the monsoon. That is our trend right now. When in doubt, blame the Mausam.
I'm not blaming the Mausam. I'm just blaming a very busy lunch service. So we are in a fourth week of Bawri here in Goa, and we've just got slammed. So
Congratulations. That's always a good sign.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
in
Yes.
fact, this format that we're having this conversation in Chef is 7 questions.
Yes.
So in your case, 7 ingredients. And between you and me, a nice, sweet, salty dish should be served up.
Yeah.
Is what both our followers have been promised.
We must deliver what we promised.
So on our menu are 7 questions. And as always, it's really good to begin with something that you may not want to answer at the end of it. So shall we start?
Yes, please.
Are you good?
Yes.
So tell me, a busy lunch service, but what are your top kitchen bloopers?
The top of the list is my last restaurant, I had no gas. Everything was on open fire on wood and charcoal. So
Right.
I remember trying to fry onions on an angithi where you don't have a regulator, you can't cut the heat, and it was just a very, very big mess.
It was a very dark moment in the
history of
pot.
Earth. Yeah, in the history of Earth's kitchen. Then after that, everyone
So
was
how
like,
did you fix it?
no, we got an electric fryer for it because it was just a hazard. It was too intense. It was almost like a
So lesson
onion
learned.
fry karna hai, so like everyone would look away. They're like, who's gonna do it? So then, yeah.
Make the intern do it.
No, but angithi is like a tandoor. It's got this big mouth, and you put your.
I know what an angithi is.
Yeah, and then
It's one of the.
Yeah, so you have to.
It's the most ancient cooking stove, really,
Yes,
in history.
yes, and then to be able to control heat, you have to be like, if you're uninitiated, if you're uninitiated, it's like being in a straight jacket and trying to do and dance.
So that's something worth remembering. Should be on a T-shirt, really.
Yeah.
But which brings me very coolly to question 2. Between chefs and restaurateurs,
Yes.
do good chefs make good restaurateurs as well?
Yes, they do. I mean, the popular belief is that they don't, but there are many chefs who have proven the popular belief wrong. And say, for example, Nancy Silverton or Wolfgang Puck, they own empires. Gordon Ramsay, they own empires. And if you don't have any business sense, you can't really make that happen. So it would be wrong.
But for every Ramsay, there's one Ramsay for 1,000 very good chefs who try every year.
Yeah, but the thing is that this profession is such that you spend way too much time in the kitchen, and then there's very little time left. And so if you are stuck to a paycheck to paycheck situation, then you might not be able to explore a business opportunity and might not have the courage to take the dip, but take the plunge. But if you do, I mean, even without even if financially you need help from an investor, it's still possible to do it. And I feel everyone.
So collaboration is the best way to go.
Totally, because also it is impossible to run a restaurant alone. You may be the important person calling the shots, but the more like if you are able to find a like-minded team, then it doesn't get better than that. It's the best. Then you are really,
because a restaurateur himself may not also be able to handle the ship without a good chef.
Yes,
so may not need, definitely not.
It's a very good team if you have someone who understands business very well, can actively go out, develop that business, and you can grow, and then you as the chef take care of everything that is skill sensitive and food related in creating the experience.
Creative part you take care of.
Yes.
And the business part, then you're not burdened with, but you're aware of it.
Yeah, like even I get burdened when I have to like abhi GST returns file karna and all. I feel, like every month I'm
CAs have been invented.
Yeah.
They are our best friends
Yes,
of all independent professionals.
yes. But even to sit in the CA's office, what this entry, that entry, I would much rather have someone else do it for me.
I'm sure they'd much rather not be in a hot kitchen coming to discuss tax returns with you. But all restaurateurs, the non-chefy part of restaurants, they do know the food. They have to know, right?
I think it helps because the top restaurants in the world are all chef driven. And from French Laundry and from Chef Thomas Keller, Chef Daniel Boulud. Uh, they're all chef-driven restaurants, and they've been in the top, like number 1, 2, 3, 4. So it definitely helps because at the end of the day, you're selling.
Which is your favorite? Which is your favorite chef-driven restaurant?
My favorite chef-driven restaurant is
which is
Core.
Not yours, apart from your own.
It's called Core. It's by Chef Claire Smith, and it's in London. I really like. I had a very, very memorable meal there, and so
so it's an experience.
Yeah, I wanted to cry. It was so good.
like that. Yeah. And in India?
In India, Bukhara is my forever favorite restaurant. I feel that I've learned so much from that restaurant, and I have so much respect for them for not changing the menu and taking that sense of pride in very traditional cooking. And
the opposite of a chef driven. It's a food driven.
It's a food driven, but it is Chef Imtiaz Qureshi's brainchild.
No, now that it's a legacy. It's no longer.
But but in the formative years of the restaurant, if a chef,
of course, it was all him.
Yeah, and
his personality is amazing. Yeah.
Yes, and then it carries forward. But in the beginning, if you don't have that, then there's a problem.
Absolutely, and that's the mark of success, right? When it becomes your trademark without your physical presence.
Yes.
There. But the other physical presence that now in the world of Insta we see are a category called food bloggers and Insta bloggers, and thousands of them. So what is your take on them? They're not food critiques. It's the vloggers and the bloggers and the reelers. What is your take on them?
Yeah, they're very important. We need them. Social media is really, even for Bhavri, we've just seen that people are we often ask them, how did you end up here? And they're like, oh, we saw this reel which has gone viral, and we did a reel on just the breads of India, and we had a table and we couldn't accommodate them. We were full, and they said, no, you know what, even if you give me just a place in the corner, I just want to eat some breads and I'll be okay. I won't ask for anything
else. Then that's like a little bit of a game of Russian roulette, right? It hits.
Yeah.
But is it a lot of free food that is invested or demanded?
But you always have an option to not entertain that, and you can also figure out how much of that you want to entertain. So I don't
take a call on how you're dealing with that particular.
Yeah, but they do help. They agree to eat whatever you give them to eat, and they're eating it.
What is the downside? There has to be. This is a perfect marriage you're talking about.
The downside is, I feel. I have seen them. I open one restaurant and to the next restaurant, say in a year, they become twice their size, and I think they have. They can have health issues if they don't watch.
No, not the cholesterol issues. That is their problem. As long as what is the downside of dealing with them?
You know what? My experience has been nice with them. They've been super nice. I've never had any issue as such. And so, it would be wrong on my part to say something.
You've been lucky so far not to have met a vlogger who's told you the fish smells like fish.
The dal didn't have the bite in it.
Yeah, too creamy. They exist. You and I both know. We're both being very diplomatic and impressing
No,
ourselves with our
no,
newfound diplomacy.
no, but I've had a good I haven't had a nasty experience with them. I've had lots of nasty experiences with guests. If you ask me, I'll tell you, no,
Wow.
without being,
Tell me the
yeah,
top two.
I feel that basic dining etiquettes and how to behave in a restaurant should be taught in schools. That's where it should start for our country because we have very badly behaved guests.
How to behave with staff, you mean?
How to behave, how to, like when kids come to a restaurant and the parents feel that it's okay to just let them loose and let them do whatever they feel like doing, and then they become the restaurant's responsibility to babysit them, and they don't know how to behave, So I feel that it should be taught in schools to the kids that if you go to a restaurant, this is how you behave. Because I was taught when I was
That's very interesting. Yeah.
when I was a child. When my father took me to a restaurant,
Yeah.
he said,
Yeah,
"We
we
all go.
got lessons. Oh,
Yeah,
true.
you
True.
behave, you sit, you don't make noise, you look at the menu
And
and
you
you
say
order
thank you and
polite.
please.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you leave a tip. My
Most
father was so
important.
big on tipping, and like my mom also, like I used to go home from the hostel, and then when I would come back, she would tell me, tip the entire staff, tip the gardener, the watchman, everybody,
Wow.
because she says they must feel happy when you come back again, and that is the reason you do this. And
Yeah.
and I think there's just like basic
But
things
you
should
don't
be
see
done.
that basic etiquettes and behavior in a public space. The restaurant is a public space.
Yeah, and there's just like absolute insensitivity about what someone goes through to put that food on the plate for you
It's
and serve it in that manner.
disrespectful to,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. I mean, dignity of
in that
labor.
sense.
And
How do you deal with it? How do you
so
deal with this?
I mean, we still have to be polite because I am a total Taj kid and that's my upbringing. And so for me, the guest is always right, and we say yes first, and then we figure how to do it and all of that. But I have told some guests off. I mean, I remember we had a kitty party and they wanted a discount, which was not agreed on earlier, and we had a no discount policy. I mean, it like all that bargaining and all is just like, how do you do that at a restaurant? So the server said that I'll knock off the 10% service charge. So you automatically it works out to be to a discount. So
A
she's like, no.
large
Yeah,
discount.
she like, no, you knock off the service charge plus you give me a 10% discount. And she just wouldn't budge. And she fully cornered the manager. There were 12 of them. And I was sitting in a corner and eating my lunch. And then I got up and I came and I said, you'll have to pay your bill. So she like, no, but da, 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 da. So I was just very assertive with her.
It sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
Like,
And
really.
I was like,
it's something they've done before, but you have to deal with it when it comes to you. Clearly.
Yes. Then I was like, no, please pay your bill, pay your bill, pay your bill. I told her that like 6-7 times. And then one of them got pissed off and she put the money in the folder, and then everybody else. And she was like the gang leader, and then everyone followed her. They all paid and they walked off. And then they went down and they clicked selfies for half an hour. They weren't even embarrassed.
Oh, that's amazing. That's like a little stand-up show right there.
Yeah. And we've caught people putting hair into the food to get a free meal. We caught them on the CCTV.
This is not. Oh, wow.
Yeah. All that.
So how do you deal with that?
So
Send
then,
it for a DNA test.
Yeah, no, we've seen it on the CCTV camera that
you have security, exactly. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing. But it's still worth the journey, right?
Totally. Still worth it.
At what point did you think you're going to, you could have done anything in the whole wide world? So at what point did you think you wanted to be a chef? It's a lot of work.
Yes. So it happened to me late in life. I was 21. I was
late in life. Okay.
21
is late in the chef world.
I mean, I would have liked to know. I would have really loved it if I knew when I was 10 years old and I put in some hours into this.
Yeah.
By the time I would be 18. I feel like schools just, in my opinion, schools are not so important, and I feel like if you can figure out what your child likes and put them, like, let them do that, by the time they're an adult, they'll be way ahead of their game, So for me,
school would also not traditionally encourage what they see as an alternate profession,
Yes.
or a creative profession for that matter.
Yes.
You can't say I want to be a chef or a singer in school and
And
be
be like,
praised for it.
yeah, अभी monitor नहीं बनाएंगे
Yeah.
इसका,
Huh. Doctor,
So,
engineer, I think it's even for our generation, it's still stuck on
yes,
that.
yes. So,
But did you have to convince your folks? Forget school.
oh yeah, my
Did you have to
dad,
convince your folks?
yeah, my dad wanted me to be a doctor because I have three siblings and they're very creative and dyslexic, so they didn't do well in school, and I wrote very well and my spellings were perfect. And I
So
topped my
you were
school.
the
Yeah,
hope.
I topped my school in 12th standard. So my dad was like, "ये मेरी
How
बेटी,
terrible of you.
ये मेरी बेटी तो डॉक्टर बन के ही रहेगी,
But naak kata diya.
बिल्कुल."
But did they come around eventually?
Yeah, he did. And my
Or do they
younger brother,
come now and spike your food and add chili and extra salt
no,
or something,
no,
mess you up?
no. My younger brother became a dentist, so my dad's
Oh,
wish was fulfilled there. So and no, he said when I told him I want to be, so I was 17 when I came to Bombay to study science. I did 6 units of life sciences, and then
okay.
we had a little hot plate in our common area, and I used to make very basic things like instant noodles and scrambled eggs. And
Hmm.
but my roommate used to eat it, and she would say, when you make it, it's so different. You should become a chef. So she's the one who planted the seed in my head.
You should have a dish in her
Yeah,
name.
I should
Honor her.
fully. I should totally have. I mean,
Name
yeah.
her. Name her. Let's Insta fame her.
Shatarupa Basu. She lives in the US.
Thank you, Shotarupa, for giving us a good chef.
Yeah, she lives in the US. She's the most intelligent person I've ever met. When we would
Oh, so
struggle at night,
lovely.
yeah, we would struggle before exam. She would just look at her book like one glance, like photographic memory, and then she would go to sleep. I wanted to kick her, when I would see her sleeping
She
at
is
10
the
o'clock.
child every parent wants.
Totally. And then top everything. So,
But the wind beneath your wings, no? She made you
yeah, she did. She did.
follow your dreams
She's
eventually.
she's just such a special human being. So
Yeah.
and then she had friends who were studying in IHM Aurangabad, and they came to a hostel once, and I saw they were like very groomed because in hotel management they teach you grooming. It's a very
You
big,
have to be, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they came, they were very groomed, and they said, "Oh, we are graduating," and one was going to Florida to work, and someone else was
So
going
that
somewhere else.
made you aware of this
I
whole
was like, "Oh wow, like where do they study?" So
institute to begin with and the lifestyle
yeah,
and yeah.
so she said they study in Aurangabad. So then I looked up what Aurangabad is. And I remember very clearly, it was like I remember that day. I was on the sixth floor. Our lab had this large window. We were extracting DNA. I had the test tube in my hand. I looked out of the window and I said to myself, I'll become a chef. Like it happens
That's amazing.
in the,
Or in a nice book, which I hope you're writing one day.
yeah, I hope to write a book, yeah, someday.
A
So,
chef writing a memoir full of recipes.
yes. I want to write a book on open fire cooking, and my ultimate dream is to write like a Indian version of the Larousse gastronomic, where uh, it's for the
It's a
very,
technical,
yeah,
yeah,
the very
very
technical book
technical.
for like seasoned chefs, cooks
Chefs, yeah.
who
It's for professionals, yeah.
yes,
Oh, that sounds like a big next project,
it'll take me, that'll
which
be,
I'm sure you're secretly working on.
yeah, I mean, I have collected some beautiful recipes and techniques and all of that, but
Yeah.
it'll take a very long time.
But you've also revived a few recipes, right? For example, what if you can name the dishes?
Yeah, so
Revival of
there are many actually,
no, just a
which
couple of them which are on
I think
your
I
favorites
think
or
more than the recipes, there were cooking techniques that I revived in my whole process of setting
for
up art.
example.
Um, like the sand pit, like cooking of meats under hot sand overnight, which is never done like in a city setup in a restaurant. I
Right.
created my own.
In Rajasthan they do it and
Yes,
most desert
yeah,
communities do it.
but you don't like you'll never see it in a restaurant because they mimic that whole process in some other way.
Hmm.
So I used
No,
to
and
like
the
imagine, like
basic
even if the
technique and the
yeah,
space.
even if the world comes to an end and like 200 years later, someone digs up, they'll find one angethi, one sandpit, one silbatta, one mortar and
Do
pestle
you
in
have
my kitchen.
that already?
In my kitchen, yeah, I have all of that.
Oh,
And then they'll be like,
fantastic.
at this year, this was still in use. So, it, and I would give myself that credit to keep it alive till, say, a 2020, like
And it
2023.
works. You're saying it's not an impossible style because it's the civilizational style. It's been used through centuries.
Yes, it
So
works. It's
it
just a tough
still works
kitchen.
for the desert dwellers, for the nomads.
Yes, totally.
It's still
It works and it
alive in
makes,
Rajasthan, but never in a restaurant. I
yes,
haven't heard of it.
and it's, the thing is that it makes a very big difference in the end result. And when you cook on open fire,
Absolutely.
the way it
Absolutely.
breaks down the ingredients, the complexity that it lends, it's gas
Yeah.
cannot replicate the same thing. And
And the
for
unpredictability, it's scary and exciting at the same time for the chef. You can
yes,
open that packet and discover back to our onions.
yeah, it's organic touch and feel. It's like shakal kaisi honi chahiye, what duration, what kind of
Hmm.
utensil. So all of these things, when I discovered these things, is when I felt that I found my rhythm in cooking, and now like I have clarity about what I want to do. When I imagine a restaurant, I know like what
Hmm.
that restaurant stands for. It is to celebrate all things Indian.
Hmm.
It's India and the
Hmm.
guest in the center of everything. And for all my work that I'm doing this year is about that, and it's about uplifting women at the same time.
Hmm. But like all entrepreneur chefs, there is also like struggle, right?
Yeah.
So what have and clearly we've reached 7 questions of 7 questions. What has your learning been? First, what has the big error been? What was that heartbreak? What did it teach you and how did you overcome it?
Um, I'm careful about the people I collaborate with now, because in the past I was just, because I'm such a passionate person. So if I like an idea, I
You
just
just
jump.
burnt your fingers.
Yeah, I jump right in, and then I realized, like, I learned my very tough lessons, that you should be very sure of who you work with. For me, I feel that, oh, I'll create this something beautiful and everything will be fine. It doesn't work that way. You have to find the right people to work with, because I've, like, so many of my restaurants have failed, my businesses have shut down, and I've had to start from scratch again. So many times in my life, I've hit rock bottom, that, if I just chose to work with the right people, it probably wouldn't have happened. Everything
But
else
that's
was fine.
what you can see in hindsight only, right?
Yes,
You don't see it when it's happening.
yes,
That's human. So how are
yes.
you going to prevent it now? Do you have filters up?
I'm a lot more careful about who I collaborate with, and for me now it is very important to enjoy the journey of creating something. And because I feel when food and stress is together, it just doesn't work well. You have to feel good.
Never know.
Your mood should be good. You should feel happy. You have to be in a comfortable environment. It's only then that you deliver the best meal.
Hmm. So what is your personal favorite dish? And that I promise is our last. It's the
My most
the oh,
favorite dish is, I call it Diomali, and it's won me many awards. Chef Marco Pierre White called me the
is that
girl.
why it's your favorite?
It's been my favorite, and then that also happened, so then it remains my favorite.
What is it?
Uh,
Describe it.
it's either pork or mutton cooked inside a bamboo, and it is the
Like in the Northeast, how they cook.
yes, and it's
Oh,
pink
nice.
sticky rice, like the bora saul in wrapped in alpinia leaf,
Yeah,
which is tora path. Are you from Assam?
right. No, I just eat a lot. I travel and eat.
Yeah, so that rice wrapped in the leaf, because as a kid we went for picnics to dense forest in Arunachal Pradesh, and this village called Diomali, and my
Yeah. Arunachal also has really good smoked pork on
yes,
those sticks.
yes. So it
Better
is
than
the
chewing gum, I tell you.
yes, so it is the pork on the stick inside a bamboo.
Oh, fantastic. And you have it on your menu?
Yeah, no, I've not put it on the menu at Bavri yet, but I'm going to do that. I will. It
Let me
will
know.
be
Let me know. Tickets have to be booked
yes, done.
to
But
come
there's
and
but
visit
there's
you.
lots of nice things to eat. There's gutti aloo, the tiny potato from Assam, which you only find in
Yeah.
Assam. That's on the menu with
Yeah.
the dahi ki
And a
khanjari.
version in Himachal, gutkas, aloo gutkas, so also little baby alus.
Yeah, but this
But
is
that's what, no, food unites us so much.
yes,
It's amazing how you discover one dish at the opposite corner of the world and it reminds you of another destination. That's so amazing.
yeah,
We'd be a more peaceful world if we just shared more food together.
absolutely,
You know, that's, I think, breaking bread with a fellow human being is a peacekeeping activity.
absolutely. That is so well said. I fully believe that.
I wish you great success and hope to come and taste some of your reasonably non-black food. Thanks for joining
Thank you
us.
so much.